Hello there, very good evening and welcome to your primetime news bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Sonali Wanigabadwe. Let's start off first with a look at the stories making headlines tonight.
New cabinet to be sworn in on the first week of September. Statement from the SLFP. Court lifts travel ban on Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Ranjan Ramanayaka seeks the dissolution of the Bribery Commission and new appointments.
මෙතනම ඉන්න භූතෙක් මෙතනම ඉන්න ආලවකෙක් මේවා නවත්තනවා නවත්තලා ෆයිල් එක හංගනවා.
Upul Tharanga to replace retired Kumar Sangakkara in third test against India.
Sangakkara ආපු ඉඳ තමයි ඔය ඉලිරිකේ ඒක පිළිබඳ තීරණයක් එක දෙපාරක් හිතන්න නෑ මම උපුල් තරංග එනවා.
Convening a media briefing at its headquarters today, members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party expressed their views on the formation of a national government.
They undertook a separate movement against us through a well-planned conspiracy and took forth a propaganda campaign that suggested that we shouldn't be voted in because we will cross over to the United National Party after the election. Due to this, President Maithripala Sirisena entered a few from our party to Parliament through the national list. The alliance received 4.7 million votes, so we secured 12 seats in the national list. And when this 12 is divided, the value of one national list seat comes to around 400,000. When you look at it this way, only the alliance has the right to make a request because the UPFA has just 3 constituent parties, the Mahajana Eksat Perumuna, the SLFP and the Desha Vimukti Janata Perumuna. The Communist Party and the Sama Samaja Party contested the election after coming into an agreement with the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Why has the law given provision for those who were defeated or those who contested the election to be given an opportunity? Yes, they were appointed ethically, because if you weigh the 2 national lists and the politics behind it, they both weigh the same.
The constitution reads that the party which garners the most amount of votes and the party which garners the second most amount of votes forms the national government. So shouldn't an MOU be signed by the UPFA and the UMP?
This could be argued about, but we know that a majority in the UPFA are from the SLFP. No, please do not panic nor get it wrong. We have not signed an agreement to form a national government. We have agreed on how the SLFP and the UNP would function in a national government. We hope to include more factors into this to broaden one's knowledge about it. Douglas Devananda and Thunderman have also expressed their willingness for the new political culture and the fact that they want to join hands with this program. So on the 1st of September, the new parliament will convene, and on the 2nd, we will celebrate our 64th anniversary. During this week, we will compile the necessary laws and get its approval, following which the cabinet will be sworn in.
Views were also expressed on the statement made by the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, Nisha Biswal, that the U.S. wants to support a domestic mechanism which would address matters pertaining to reconciliation and accountability. We could not implement the resolution which was passed in 2009. If we implemented that resolution accordingly, it would have been difficult to pass the resolutions which were brought forward in 2012-2013. But now we have got another opportunity. If a resolution which supports a domestic mechanism is brought forward, and once it is passed, we should be bound to implement that because we will not get another opportunity like this.
Mayor of Colombo, A.J. Muzammil, attended an event in Kirlapana today.
The event was organized to lay the foundation stone for the District Engineer's Office of Kirlapana, which comes under the purview of the Colombo Municipal Council.
On the 2nd, we will create the historic national government. Our leader and the president made a pledge to the nation. We engaged in a political battle from different corners. Our final aim was to provide good governance that the people requested for and develop the nation. This is what the people asked for. This is what the people wanted.
Former Deputy Minister Chandra Siri Suryaarachi convened a media briefing in Polonnaruwa today.
I have never experienced such an election during my life. I must mention that this was an election that was based on vengeful politics. I must also mention that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa should be held responsible for this. The Mineri electorate was victorious. Susantha and Suriarachi were defeated by the people. They divided themselves as the Mahinda faction and the Maitri faction and went around saying, "Do not vote for Susantha and Suriarachi." The people know nothing about this. The people voted to make Mahinda the Prime Minister. Those who contested against us from Polonnaruwa without any shame have made it to Parliament. The people voted to make Mahinda the Prime Minister. Those who contested against us from Polonnaruwa without any shame have made it into the Parliament. They are seen around the President's official residence seeking ministerial portfolios. Have they no shame? We could have easily won the elections from the Polonnaruwa district. However, the actions of some of the candidates and the former president resulted in the victory slipping away from us and was served to the United National Party.
The annual meeting of the Kotikawata Mulleriyawa Pradeshiya Sabha took place today. The chairman of the local government body, Prasanna Solangarachi, made a special statement during the session.
I need to make this special statement to you all. You must be prepared for the local government elections. I will not contest elections. There may be an election next March.
After addressing the council, Prasanna Solangarachi addressed the media.
Mahinda Rajapaksa defeated us. This is a natural issue. One does not need to think a lot about that. We enjoyed the bitterness and the happiness alike. There is no issue. We will engage in politics. The other constituent parties of the alliance stole the votes of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
The session of the Uva Provincial Council was limited to several minutes, as the Chief Minister and several other provincial ministers were not present today.
The Uva Provincial Council today assembled under the auspices of Chairman of the Council A.M. Buddhadasa. 5 members of the ruling party and 4 members of the opposition were present for this morning's session. The Chairman of the Council decided to adjourn the session for a period of 30 minutes due to the lack of quorum. The Provincial Council convened once again with the attendance of 16 members. However, as the Chief Minister and other ministers were not present to respond to the questions posed today, the Council session was adjourned to the 10th of September.
2 separate cases, one against the Governor of the Central Bank, his son-in-law and the Prime Minister, and the other against the former President and the former Central Bank Governor, which were taken up before the Colombo Chief Magistrate, were withdrawn today.
One case had been filed by former UPFA Provincial Council Minister Renuka Pereira against Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran and his son-in-law with respect to the controversial Central Bank Treasury bond issue. Later, another group of lawyers instituted action against former President Mahinda Rajapaksa and former Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral with regard to the investment of Greek bonds and the misappropriation of the Employee Provident Fund.
The case which we previously filed against the Central Bank Governor and his son-in-law was taken up again today. At that instance, there was a representation of lawyers for the Bribery Commission. They stated that an investigation on this matter is being conducted by the Commission. Since there is no necessity to proceed further with this private plaint, we as the complainant expressed our willingness to withdraw the case.
We have clearly pointed out that the former Central Bank Governor has committed many large-scale financial frauds. We presented a private plaint against those persons. The Chief Magistrate at first sight said that this case against the Central Bank Governor has been filed merely for political reasons, because the day before the general election, every single newspaper had published that notices were issued against the Central Bank Governor. Taking this fact into account and without even consulting the Attorney General on this matter, it was regarded as merely a matter of politicization, following which all parties agreed to withdraw this case.
The people elected a new government to capture the rogues, but now both these factions have joined together and launched an operation to sweep all these wrongs under the carpet and protect the thieves. If this continues, in a few days' time, this government will make the rogues innocent and make the public rogues. What this government should do is take necessary legal action against the complaints which were made against the swindling of public money. So we as the Voice Against Corruption are vigilant on this matter, and we urge the people to be aware as well, because these two factions have commenced an operation to hide the wrongs and its wrongdoers.
The Galle magistrate today lifted the overseas travel ban on former Secretary of Defence Gotabaya Rajapaksa when the Criminal Investigations Department presented facts to court over the floating armoury in Galle.
In addition, the overseas travel ban on former Navy Commander Somatilaka Dissanayake, former Additional Secretary to the State Ministry of Defence Sujata Damayanti Jayaratne, Directors of Avant-Garde Security Services Private Limited Palitha Piasiri Fernando and Manjula Kumarayappa was also lifted by court today. The Criminal Investigations Department presenting facts to court today noted that the Attorney General had informed that there isn't sufficient facts to file cases under the Firearms Ordinance, Explosives Ordinance and the Prevention of Terrorism Act. CID also informed court that the Attorney General would pursue with the investigations under the Money Laundering Act. Attorneys appearing on behalf of Avant-Garde Security Services Private Limited requested court that the case be closed. Galle Magistrate Nilapuli Lankapura, who took facts into consideration, noted that if cases are to be filed against the Money Laundering Act, a bill report inclusive of the list of suspects be presented to court on the 22nd of October along with the final investigation report.
Convening a media briefing in Colombo today, civil organizations commented on the investigations over missing journalist Prageet Eknaligoda.
The Criminal Investigations Department was capable of arresting the officers who had abducted Prageet and detained him at several places. The detention order for the Secretary of Defence has not been given to the CID as yet. I seek the truth. I want to know what happened to Prageet Eknaligoda. As a citizen of this country, I seek that criminals not be protected. Support the CID in its investigations to obtain the detention order. If the President does not intervene in this, those persons would escape through the loopholes in the CID.
ජනාධිපතිතුමනි ඔබ මැදිහත් නුනොත් මේ පුද්ගලයන් අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් රිංගලා යනවා.
අපි ඉල්ලනවා මේ රටේ ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්වරයාගෙන් අගමැතිවරයාගෙන් ජනාධිපතිවරයාගෙන්
We request the Secretary of Defence, the President and the Prime Minister to conduct proper investigations. They were elected to bring in good governance, the rule of law and democracy. You must expose the details of Prageet's killing. If serial killings are not to take place in the country again, you must reveal those who were involved and punish them. No matter who is involved, be it a top brass or a top politician, they must be sent to prison.
In related news, military spokesperson Brigadier Jayannath Jayavira said that the Ministry of Defence has ordered to be questioned under detention orders the 4 military personnel who were arrested in connection with the disappearance of journalist Prageet Eknaligoda.
Welcome back to the news. UNP MP-elect Ranjan Ramanayake today arrived at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption.
Ramanayake, who arrived at the Commission with a number of documents, had attempted to make the chairman of the Commission.
These complaints relate to helping Hambantota. These are the files of Kehelia Ramukwala, Vimal Veeravansa, Sajin Divas Gunawardena, Shashindra Rajapaksa and others. A force that is here is stopping the investigations and concealing the files. I came here to meet Bala Patabandi, and while speaking to the Secretary, Lakshman makes a phone call and asks whether Ranjan Ramanayake is there. These persons were appointed by the defeated former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. I wish to ask this from Bala Patabandi. Who did you send to prison after filing charges? Coming here is like asking the thieves' mothers for the location of the thief. I request the President and the Prime Minister to immediately dissolve the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. Establish the Constitutional Council. Give powers that were given to the Commissioner General to nab the rogues. If this does not happen, I will commence a fast at the location.
Sri Lanka's World Heritage Site, Sigiriya and many other historical places attract hundreds of thousands of visitors from the world over. In August last year, on a number of occasions, Action TV pointed out the manner in which the revenue earned through opening the gates to visitors had been swindled by the Central Cultural Fund. Action TV made this expose with credible evidence which proves that the Director General of the Central Cultural Fund and the Operations Director, who was appointed in violation of the Central Cultural Fund Act, was directly involved in the swindling of money. Among the evidence produced was that the operation director of the Central Cultural Fund had obtained money from the fund for the unbelievable amount of fuel consumed by his official vehicle. In addition, the Director General had used a helicopter to enjoy the view from the sky of Sigiriya together with his children. For this too, the Director General had utilized money from the Central Cultural Fund. After the 8th of January this year, these two persons lost their positions, however were appointed to two other state institutions and continued to swindle public funds. At a media briefing convened by the new Director General of the Central Cultural Fund, Action TV inquired as to what steps have been taken by the Central Cultural Fund to reclaim the funds that were swindled by the aforementioned individuals.
We cannot take time for this. This is for this project only. And he is here as I'm the director of this institute, and he is as my guest here. And he is here for this project, not to answer the questions about general things about this here. Why don't you call up another meeting with me?
The director in charge of the Sigiriya project of the Central Cultural Fund, who acted in this manner at the press briefing, snubbing away the right to information on a previous occasion, too acted in a similar manner to protect the former Director General of the fund. This too was at a press briefing organized to respond to claims made by Action TV. However, the new Director General of the Central Cultural Fund did not evade answering the questions posed by Action TV. It's been a very short time since I've been appointed as the Director General, so what I have to do is rectify the mistakes of the past and move this institution forward. We have focused our attention on all the issues that you have raised. However, a Sri Lankan who arrived from the United Kingdom together with her children to visit the Sigiriya Rock Fortress was deprived of the opportunity because she did not have her national identity card.
I visited the ticket counter. I waited in line. Tickets were sold to all those who were ahead of me. When it was my turn, they asked me for my identification card. I said that I did not have it at the time. My husband and I are both Sinhalese. Both of us are Sri Lanka passport holders. I do not think it is fair to charge one rate from me and my husband and $30 for my children.
That is not an extraordinary issue. We come across a number of issues like that. Such persons have contacted me as well. There will be issues when persons who reside overseas for a long period of time. We have formulated a proper system to address this. What are the parameters that the Central Cultural Fund uses at the Sigiriya Rock Fortress to prove the nationalities of the visitors? Shouldn't these parameters be made public? Secretary to the Prime Minister, this is over to you.
In business news tonight, the Ministry of Power and Energy announced that local consumers will be able to benefit from the drop of global oil prices only after the new price formula for the country is introduced. Secretary to the Ministry, Dr. Suren Batagoda, speaking to Newsfirst, said that the price formula for fuel has already been prepared.
The price of a barrel of crude oil was priced at $60 to $65 over 2 months ago. However, today the price of a barrel of crude oil stands between $39 and $43, a drop of almost $22. In a backdrop where global oil prices have dropped by 35%, Newsfirst inquired from the ministry as to how this drop would benefit the Sri Lankan consumer. Secretary to the ministry, Dr. Suren Batagoda, said that the government has taken a decision to make price revisions based on a price formula. He added that the formula that had been prepared has been directed to the Ministry of Finance and said that once cabinet approval is obtained, the price formula will come into effect. As mentioned by the Secretary to the Ministry, the price formula will be based on global oil prices, shipping charges and other expenditure that have to be borne locally when a litre of oil reaches Sri Lankan shores. This includes storage charges, transport charges, expenditures of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and the expenditure borne in the petroleum refining processes.
The Pasiala branch of a renowned restaurant chain in the country was robbed last night. The robbery was captured on the closed-circuit television set up at the establishment.
A restaurant of a renowned chain located in Kalalpitiya, Pasiala, was robbed last night. Two armed persons wearing helmets had stormed into the restaurant at around 7:40 last night. Our correspondent said that the thieves have made away with the jewellery of the customers who were present at the time of the robbery. The Nitambo police are conducting further investigations.
The first session of the International Research Conference organized by the Kotalawala Defence University under the theme Inculcating Professionalism for National Development took place at the premises of the Kotalawala Defence University today.
Recent surveys indicate deep decline of professional ethics in almost all the professions all over the world. Every professional worth calling one should rise head and shoulders above amateurism and should be an exponent of the elegant and finer points of professionalism, whatever the profession he represents. The golden thread that runs through the fabric of diplomacy is professionalism, pure and simple. The role of professionalism plays in national and international diplomacy cannot be obscured and still less denied. Lamentably, our country has paid a heavy toll for departing from well-established norms and principles due to lack of professionalism, especially in the diplomatic arena during the recent past. We are now in the process of surmounting that sorry state of affairs.
The Prime Minister of the Republic of Korea, Hwang Kyo-ahn, had sent a congratulatory message to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The Korean Prime Minister had commended the efforts taken by the Sri Lankan government towards holding free and fair elections on August 17th. The Korean Premier believes that the outcome of this election reflects the desire and willingness of the people of Sri Lanka to strengthen democracy and restore good governance.
In sports news tonight, skipper Angelo Matthews, speaking to reporters today, said that Upul Tharanga will replace Kumar Sangakkara in the Sri Lankan team for the third and final test against India, which starts in Colombo tomorrow.
India and Sri Lanka will play the decider of the test series tomorrow at the SAC grounds in Colombo. Both teams were seen at the nets today in their final practice session ahead of the final test. Sri Lanka skipper Angelo Matthews commented on the team's readiness at a pre-match media briefing today.
After Sangakkara's and Mahela's retirement, the rest of us that are left have not played too many tests. It will take a long time to fill the gap that he has left, but I think the team we have now can do it. We are trying to find a good batting order. We don't have a set batting order yet. It has to be Tharanga definitely. In the last match, he hit a couple of 45s. He went out only because Sangakkara came in. Nuwan Pradeep is recovering. If he can, he will play in tomorrow's game.
Nothing changes from day one. When I spoke to you before goal, we play for only one reason. We play to win. So we've got ourselves in a position now where if you win this test match, you win the series, which is massive. So there's no point being shy of going for a win. At the same time, it's not a case of being overconfident. You've got to have the right balance and go and play proper cricket like we did in the last test match over 5 days.
And that's a look at primetime news for this Thursday night. I'm Sonali Wanikibatuke.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and good night.